Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
It was Tuesday, October 27th. We were working the day watch out of Homicide Division. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Lorman. My name's Friday. An unidentified woman had been found murdered in a hotel room. The cause of death was strangulation. There was no lead to the identity of the killer. We had to find him.
Well, this is all of it.
You find anything we can get a lead out of?
Nothing too good, no. I don't think you could identify her from what we've got here. Morgan post the body yet?
Yeah, this morning. How about fingerprints, Ray? They find any in the hotel room?
Checked with Bergman, no foreign prints, no. Dead end there.
What about the woman's purse? Did it show anything?
No chance. You can see this fabric here, file. Won't take a print. Contents of the purse, usual stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Comb, lipstick, keychain, one key on it. Half package of chewing gum. Coin purse with a dime and 2 nickels in it. That's all of it.
According to the room clerk at the hotel, she had a wallet with her when she checked in there. No sign of that, huh?
No, no sign of it in the hotel room either. Checked everything.
Is that the only piece of jewelry found on the body, that wedding ring there?
Yeah. It's a cheap ring. No markings on it. No way of tracing it. About the only thing I can tell you, she was pretty well dressed. That's an expensive bag there. Sure not a cheap dress either. Same for a coat and shoes. They cost money, too.
How about labels on any of that stuff, Ray?
Yeah, Joe. There's one on the coat here. You can see it right here. Benwick's Department Store, Los Angeles. Coat's fairly new. They might be able to give you something on it.
Yeah, maybe.
The people at the hotel. Did you get anything there?
Well, it could have been a little better. Woman checked in last night around 8 o'clock. She registered as John Rawson, wife, L.A.
Anyone see the man with her?
No, nobody. Room clerk says a woman came in alone. Said her husband was parking the car, so she registered for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Clerk said he left the desk a few minutes after that. Figures a man must have come in sometime while he was gone. Nobody on duty at the desk after midnight. Could have left the hotel at any time after that without being seen.
She registered at 8 p.m. Coroner said she died about 10:30.
You're not even sure there was a man with her, are you?
Yeah, the woman who was next door to the murder room. She told us she heard a man and woman arguing. That was about 10 o'clock. Said it got pretty loud.
No idea who the woman really was, huh? I don't suppose that John Ross and wife business means anything.
That's pretty doubtful, Ray. About all we got to go on is the physical description from the coroner. She was a small woman, 5'1", 91 1/4 pounds, brown hair, blue eyes, about 31 to 32 years old. We got her prints off to Washington.
You got any ideas?
Well, it might be a psycho killer.
How do you figure?
Well, the coroner's report listed strangulation as the cause of death.
Yeah.
Whoever did it made sure. Her neck was broken. At approximately 6 o'clock that morning, in a second-floor room of a downtown hotel, the body of an unidentified woman was found murdered. Preliminary investigation failed to reveal the true identity of the victim or the killer. As far as physical evidence was concerned, there wasn't much to go on. The deep bruises on her neck and throat, along with the crushed vertebrae at the base of her skull, indicated a savage attack. 1:55 p.m. Through the label on the dead woman's coat, we traced the garment to the department store where it had been purchased, but they had no record on it. It was a cash purchase, and the salesgirl couldn't remember the customer. Investigation during the next 2 days failed to turn up any leads. We showed a morgue picture of the victim to bartenders, waitresses, parking lot attendants in the vicinity of the hotel. They couldn't identify her. We rechecked tenants and employees at the hotel. It got us nothing. Thursday, 5:48 p.m.
Sure got me stopped. 2 days of leg work and we're in no place.
Well, we might be in better shape when we get that kickback from Washington.
Sure hope so. The victim was a nice-looking woman, well-dressed, nice clothes. How come she'd stay in a cheap hotel in a neighborhood like that? Doesn't jive for my money.
Well, it's hard to say.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir. Can we help you?
Well, I don't know. I guess that just depends. I'm waiting to see a couple of detectives here.
Well, who'd you want to see?
A couple of detectives.
Who are they?
Well, this is pretty confidential, you know. I have to talk to them myself. They told me to see Friday and Smith. Frank Friday and Joe Smith. Detectives, they're handling the case.
Well, yes, sir. I'm Joe Friday. This is my partner, Frank Smith. What can we do for you?
Well, Fred, they say that you're working on that murder case, that woman who was found in the hotel?
Yes, sir, that's right.
Mm-hmm. Could I see your badges?
Yes, sir. Here.
That looks authentic.
There's my ID card.
May I?
Yeah.
Nice likeness. Typo. Good blood. Now, I've been reading about that murder in the papers. You're going to thank me for this. I got all you want to know about that murder.
You mind telling us your name, sir?
I don't mind. L.P. Morgan. I was a good friend of hers, you know. Used to work with her.
You mean the dead woman?
Same one. Never forget a face. Maud McLeod. I saw that picture in the paper, and I said to myself, there's old Maud.
You pretty sure of that, are you, Mr. Morgan?
Sure, I'm sure. Maud McLeod. We used to work together in the circus. Maud was a bareback girl, you know. Best in the country. Real trooper.
Well, now, what makes you so sure it's the same woman, Mr. Morgan? When was the last time you saw this friend of yours, this Maud McLeod?
Well, I used to see her all the time. Worked the old cells floater together. I got a picture of her.
Do you mind if we take a look at it?
Well, that's why I came down here. I want to help out. She's got to be identified. See, I got it here somewhere. I know. I always carry it. Carson City. I know. Oh, here it is. It's Maud in her circus costume. Awful pretty. Take a look at that. That's Maud, ain't it?
Well, I don't know, sir. This is a drawing. There doesn't seem to be much resemblance there.
Is that right?
I'm afraid you've made a mistake, Mr. Morgan. Thanks for your cooperation, anyway. Appreciate you coming in.
I was sure it was Maud.
Forget it. Homicide Friday. Oh, yeah, Ed. Uh-huh. Is that right? What'd it say? Uh-huh. Okay, fine. Yeah, we'll pick it up. Thank you.
Anything?
Communications. They just got the kickback from Washington on the dead woman's fingerprints.
Any luck?
Yeah, they got her identified. Worked in an aircraft plant during the war. Her name's Doris Frazier.
I can't help but think you fellas are missing the bet. I know that dead woman.
Well, no, sir. She's already been identified, Mr. Morgan. We know who she is. Her name's Doris Frazier.
That's so.
Yes, sir, that's right.
Well, what do you know about that? Old Maud. She went and changed her name.
Thursday, 6:35 p.m. Frank and I went down the hall to communications and got a copy of the kickback from Washington. The murder victim was identified as Doris Allen Frazier. She applied for a position as a typist at the Eagle Aircraft Plant in Burbank in 1942. Next morning, we checked the personnel office at the plant, and we found that Doris Frazier had been employed as a typist from 1942 to 1944. In going over her application, we found her last known address listed as 7346 Oakdale Avenue. Her application stated she was single, with no previous employment, with no known relatives. We could uncover no further information on the girl. We drove across town to the Oakdale Avenue address, a large apartment building in a better-than-average neighborhood. The manager told us that Doris Frazier had lived there up to 18 months before. He said that a few weeks before she moved, she was married, but he was unable to remember the name of her husband. The manager also told us that the newly married couple apparently began having trouble from the day they were married. We checked the next forwarding address, a boarding house for women in the southwest end of the city. Frank and I interviewed the woman in charge, a Mrs. Frances Watson. We talked to her in the dining room of the boarding house, where she was polishing a set of silverware.
Well, of course, when she first came here, we didn't know it, but she was married. This is a home for single girls, and we have our rules and regulations, just like any other respectable place.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, as we came to find out later, Doris wasn't only married, but she was fighting with her husband. I understand he wasn't much at all. She was thinking of getting a divorce, as a matter of fact.
Did you ever meet her husband, Miss Watson?
No, I never did. I suppose it's just as well I didn't. I understand that Doris left him after they'd been married only a few months.
Uh-huh. Do you know what his name is, ma'am?
No, I have no idea. Doris always used her maiden name when she was with me.
And you never saw the man, Mrs. Watson. He never came to the house here.
No, I didn't say I never saw him. I said I didn't meet him. Yes, there was once when he came to the house to see Doris.
Well, what was the occasion? Would you mind telling us about it?
Well, it was most unpleasant, I can tell you that. Let me see now. Yes, Doris had been here about 6 months. Even by that time, I was beginning to see the real side of the girl. No character, officer. No character at all. It shows up every time.
Yes, ma'am. Would you go on, please?
Well, as I was saying, it was after about 6 months when this man brought Doris home late one night. About a quarter till midnight, I'd say. Upset the whole house.
Well, how was that, ma'am?
The two of them, this man and Doris, they stood right out in the hall there. They had a terrible quarrel. The language, it was dreadful. At the top of their lungs, too. My husband went out to quiet them down, but the man left before he had a chance to calm him down. Upset the whole house.
Mm-hmm. This man that the Fraser woman was arguing with, you sure it was her husband?
Well, as sure as I can be. That's what Doris told me, anyway, the day after. I called her in and told her I just couldn't tolerate behavior like that. It upset her quite a bit, I remember. She cried, said it wouldn't happen again. That's when she told me she was trying to get a divorce.
Was that what the big argument was about, would you know?
Yes, she said she wanted the divorce. Her husband didn't. He wanted her back with him. Certainly is sad the way some people mix up their lives.
Yes, ma'am. By any chance, did you ever get a good look at this man, the husband, I mean?
Well, he was tall and had dark hair. That's about all I remember. He was well-dressed, too.
I see. When Doris Fraser left here, Mrs. Watson, did she leave any forwarding address with you?
No, she didn't. I haven't any idea where she moved.
What kind of work was she doing while she was living here? Do you have any idea where she was employed?
Yes, that was one of the references she gave me. Furniture company down on Venice Boulevard, if I remember correctly. I have the address in my record book. Certainly is unfortunate, the whole thing.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
I even tried to talk to her before she left. Sat her down and talked to her for a whole afternoon. Guess it was just a waste of time.
Well, how's that, ma'am?
The trouble with her husband, terrible thing. He seemed to treat her so badly. Two of them fighting all the time. I believe she was actually afraid of him. She told me he was very jealous. He drank, ran around. That's why I couldn't understand it.
Couldn't understand what, ma'am?
Doris, when she moved away from here.
Yeah.
She said she was going back with her husband.
The landlady, Frances Watson, gave us the address of the furniture store where the murder victim had been employed, and we drove down to check with the personnel manager, a Mr. Collins. He said Doris Fraser had been fired from her job 10 months before. He said she'd been let out because she was constantly late for work and that she got into the habit of asking for salary advances too often. Collins also told us that he'd heard about the trouble between the Fraser woman and her husband. He said he'd seen the husband in the store several times when he came to call for his wife. He identified the husband as Stephen Arnold. The personnel manager gave us the last known address they had on the victim. The following morning, we checked it out, an apartment hotel in the East Wilshire area. She was still registered there, together with her husband, Stephen Arnold. But the desk clerk told us that Arnold hadn't been living there for the past 3 months. He had no idea where Arnold had moved, and he didn't know where he worked. While the desk clerk stood by, Frank and I went upstairs and checked the apartment.
You find anything, Joe?
Not too much, no.
Well, there's nothing in the bedroom. Like Ray says, she likes nice things, but that's about all I can figure.
Mm-hmm.
What you got there?
Looks like a letter she started and she didn't finish it. It's dated October 23rd.
What's it say?
Dear George, I've been meaning to write you before. That's all. That's as far as she got.
George, huh? That's the first time we've run to that name on this deal.
Yeah.
Means there's more than one man in her life.
A few more letters and bills here.
All unopened.
Yeah. Ad from a woman's store. Another ad, telephone bill, postcard. Here's one postmarked Santa Monica.
Check the name of that return.
Yeah. Stephen Arnold. 12:35 p.m. We called the office and checked Stephen Arnold through R&I. He had no criminal record. The return address, which he'd listed on the envelope of the letter to his wife, was 10826 Pacific Front Boulevard. We located it on the beach just below Santa Monica. It was a small dart concession owned and operated by the dead woman's husband.
No, I haven't seen Doris for a couple of months anyway. Why?
Understand you had an apartment with your wife in the East Wilshire neighborhood. That right, Mr. Arnold?
Yeah, that's right.
You mind telling us why you left?
No, I don't mind. I wanted to move closer to my work, that's all. That place was way too far out.
How is it your wife didn't move out with you, sir?
She wanted to stay close to town. She doesn't care much for the beach. Bad for her sinus.
Did you have an argument with your wife, Arnold? Some kind of a disagreement? Is that one of the reasons you moved?
Yeah, you might call it that. We're getting a divorce.
Is that so?
Yeah.
It was the best thing all the way around. It's been nothing but fighting and scrapping all last year anyway. We decided to call it quits. Say, would you excuse me a minute? I got some cold drinks in this cooler here. Would either of you like a cool drink?
No, thanks. Are you getting the divorce from your wife, Arnold?
Yeah, that's right. I'm divorcing her. Why'd you want to know?
You remember that last time you saw your wife, the exact date, I mean?
No, I don't think I remember that. Been at least 3 months, I'll say that much.
You spend most of your time down here at the beach, Mr. Arnold?
Yeah, that's right. I get in town a couple of times a month. Sure you wouldn't like a cold drink?
No, thank you.
I'll have one myself if you don't mind. This water sure keeps it nice and cool.
Yes, sir.
How about last Tuesday night? Were you in town that night?
No, last time was 2 or 3 weeks ago anyway. Went in to see a show. I was working here last Tuesday night. Work here every night except Monday. That's the only night I'm closed up.
Mm-hmm. Is there anyone who can vouch for that?
I don't think I get this. Why do you want to know?
Well, is there anybody who can vouch for you?
Sure. Half a dozen people anyway. The fellow who runs the place next door. The guys in the rest of the stalls up and down the way here. They can all vouch for me. I worked here till 1 a.m., same as usual. Just a minute. Hey, Vic. Vic.
Yeah, Steve?
Come on over here a moment, will you? These fellas are detectives, Vic. I guess it's something about a jam my wife got herself into. They want to know where I was last Tuesday night.
Yeah?
They want somebody to vouch for me.
Sure.
Did you see Arnold last Tuesday night?
I was working next door. Steve was here all night.
Saturday, October 31st, 2 p.m. Frank and I checked with a dozen different concession operators in the neighborhood of Stephen Arnold's place. They all corroborated the fact that on the night his wife had met her death in a downtown hotel, Arnold had been working at his stand until 1 a.m. Despite all the previous indications that he might have been responsible for the murder of his wife, we had to eliminate him as a possible suspect. 2:20 p.m. On the way back into town, we stopped by the apartment hotel where Doris Frazier was living at the time of her murder. After checking further with tenants and with the help in the building, we found out that the victim had been in the habit of eating most of her meals at restaurants in the immediate neighborhood. After some 2 hours and 6 restaurants later, we found a small coffee shop 4 blocks from the apartment building where one of the waitresses identified Doris Frazier's picture.
Yeah, that's her, officer. Terrible picture, though. She looks so much older.
About how often would you say Miss Frazier came in here, ma'am?
Oh, 3 or 4 times a week, I'd say. The bus stop is right out there in the corner. She'd usually have breakfast and then grab the bus and go to work. Some nights coming home from work, she'd stop here for dinner. Nice girl. Quiet.
Did you get to know her at all, miss? I mean, do you happen to know any of her friends in the neighborhood?
No, as I say, she was a quiet person, not very talkative. Usually read while she was eating. Magazine or a book.
Did she ever come in here with anyone else, would you know?
Oh, yes, quite a few times. She seemed to have the boyfriends. Of course, she was attractive. Small, you know, but real cute looking.
Mm-hmm. Do you happen to know any of these men?
No, I'm sorry, I don't.
Any one of them in particular that she came in with very often?
Let's see. I think there was one. He was dark, well-dressed, kind of tall, good-looking. They usually came in together for breakfast.
How long ago was this, miss? Would you recall?
Oh, I'd say up till a couple of weeks ago. I usually waited on them in the morning. That's how I happen to remember.
I see. Did you ever happen to hear this man's name?
Let me see. George. I think that was it, yeah.
Would you happen to know if he lives in the neighborhood?
No, I'm sorry, I don't.
Has this man been in here during the past week, do you know?
Yes, he has. He came in for breakfast.
What day was that?
This morning.
Before we left the coffee shop, we questioned the cashier who came up with the information that the man known as George usually left his car parked at the service station across the street. We left our card and asked the cashier to call us in case the suspect returned. At the service station, they also remembered the man known as George, but they told us that he hadn't been in for the past 2 weeks. They'd done some work on his car for him in the past, so they had a record of his license number. We called our DMV and found that the car was registered to a Carl Lucy in East Hollywood. 4:30 p.m. We drove out and interviewed Lucy at his home, but he came nowhere near the description of the suspect. He told us that he had purchased the car 6 weeks before from a man known as George Crane. He described Crane as tall, dark, and well-dressed. From the bill of sale, we got Crane's address, a motel on East Manchester. The manager there told us that George Crane had moved a week before. He said that Crane had left no forwarding address, but he did remember where he worked. He gave us the name of the aircraft company in the San Fernando Valley. We called their personnel office, but they were closed for the day. This
description checks out all the way.
You called the night office at the aircraft company, did you?
Yeah, they couldn't tell us anything. Gave us the home number of the personnel manager.
Well, he's got a record. I got the package on him here.
Yeah.
Nothing very heavy. Drunk charge 2 years ago, another one last year. Disorderly conduct, resisting arrest. That's about all. I got it. Homicide, Friday. Who? How's that? Oh, yeah. Yes, sir. No, I'm afraid not. Well, we sure. Certainly. Yes, we are. Yes, sir. Thanks anyway. Right. Goodbye. Well, that does it.
Who was it?
You know that guy was in here the other day, that Al P. Morgan?
Yeah, what do you want?
He wanted to buy us a drink. He's celebrating.
Huh?
His old friend Maud. He just found her. Sunday, November 1st, 8 a.m. We got in touch with the manager of the personnel department of the aircraft company at his home. He said that he'd checked the files for us. 8:42 a.m. He called back to tell us that George Crane was employed as a maintenance man in the electrical department, that he'd been working for the company for the past 5 years, and that he had a good employment record. He told us he was on the day shift, and that he was scheduled to report for work in the generator room at 8 o'clock that morning. Frank and I got in the car and drove out to the valley where we located the murder suspect, George Crane, at work in the generator room of the aircraft factory.
Do you know a Doris Fraser?
Doris Fraser? No, I'm sorry, officers. I don't know anybody by that name.
How about Doris Arnold? Do you know that name?
Arnold? No, I'm afraid not. What's it all about?
You own a car?
Yeah. It's a dark sedan.
Had it very long?
A couple of weeks. Last one I had was giving me a lot of trouble.
Did you trade it in?
No, I sold it to a private party. A fellow out in Hollywood.
How about this picture? Know her?
Well, it doesn't look like anybody I know. Am I supposed to?
You should, yeah.
I don't follow you.
You spend any time around the East Wilshire District, Crane?
East Wilshire? No, I've probably been over there a couple of times. Not lately, though.
How about the coffee shop on the corner of Gramercy and Marengo? Ever been in there?
Not that I remember, no.
Well, a waitress in that coffee shop, and the cashier, too, say they got a pretty regular customer, and he fits your description exactly. You sure you never been in there?
I'm not positive. I wouldn't swear I'd never been in the place. What's the difference, anyway?
How about the service station across the street from the coffee shop? You ever park your car there? They ever do any work on it for you?
Oh, say, I better know the place you're talking about. Yeah, I've been by there a few times, sure. It's a good station. Done a lot of good jobs on my car for me. Yeah, I remember it now.
Then I guess you remember the coffee shop. Crane?
Yeah, I think I do now. Right across the street from the station?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, what do you want to know about it?
When's the last time you were in there, Crane?
Well, to tell the truth, I couldn't be sure.
We talked to a waitress in there yesterday. Said you were in that morning for breakfast. Do you remember that?
She's way off her track on that one, I can tell you that. I wasn't near the place yesterday morning.
The cashier remembers you, too. She says you were in. Now, how about it, Crane?
Look, what difference does it make? What's this thing all about, anyway?
You want to take another look at that picture?
I told you once, I don't know the woman. I never saw her before in my life.
Why don't you give it some thought?
Huh?
You remembered East Wilshire. You remembered the service station. You finally remembered the coffee shop. Maybe you can remember her, too, huh?
I don't know her. I never saw her in my life.
The waitress in the place says you were in there quite a few times with the woman. Usually came in for breakfast. And you stopped going there about 2 weeks ago.
I don't know her.
What's the matter, Crane? You figure you got something to hide?
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know her. What do you figure she's got to do with me anyway?
We checked her apartment, mister. We found a letter she was writing to you. You ready to tell us?
Well, what's a letter? That doesn't mean anything. Can't prove anything by a letter. What are you thinking anyway?
We think you're lying, Crane. We think you got a reason for it. Now, what do you say?
Doesn't prove anything. Maybe I knew her. Doesn't mean anything at all.
We think it does.
Yeah?
We think you killed her.
The way it looks to you?
That's the way it looks.
I don't think you can prove it.
We're going to try. Now, how about it?
Will it go any easier for me if I admit it?
That's not up to us.
I don't know why I did it. What am I going to give for a reason?
I wouldn't know, Crane.
I don't know why I killed her. Sounds funny, doesn't it? No reason at all. I just killed her. What am I going to tell him? If I don't have a reason, how can I ask him to let me off easy? How can I ask him?
I don't know, but they'll have an answer.
February 8th, trial was held in Department 89, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial. The suspect was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
This is the city. Los Angeles, California. I work here. I'm a cop. It was Wednesday, June 17th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of robbery division. The boss is Captain Didion. My partner's Frank Smith. My name's Friday. We'd gotten a call that a doctor had been slugged in a downtown hotel. The assailant had escaped. We had to find him.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
This is the city. Los Angeles, California. I work here. I'm a cop. It was Wednesday, June 17th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of robbery division. The boss is Captain Didion. My partner's Frank Smith. My name's Friday. We'd gotten a call that a doctor had been slugged in a downtown hotel. The assailant had escaped. We had to find him. 8:46 p.m. We reached the hotel at the corner of Pembroke and Columbia Streets. We talked with one of the officers in the radio unit that answered the call. He told us that his partner was out checking the neighborhood. We talked with the ambulance attendant, and he told us that the cut on the victim's head was not serious. The victim identified himself to us as Dr. Aaron R. Platt. We asked him what had happened.
That's hard to answer.
Sir?
It's hard to tell you what happened. I'm not too sure about it myself.
If you'd tell us what you do know, sir.
I received a call tonight that a woman was ill.
Who'd the call come from, Doctor?
It came through my call service.
What time was this, Doctor?
Well, it must have been about 7:45. My call service would have a record of it. You can get in touch with them.
You ever seen these people before?
No.
So you want to tell us what happened?
As I told you, I got a call from my service, gave me this address and the room number.
What'd your call service tell you?
Just said that a woman needed a physician. I came right over.
All right, would you go ahead?
Well, when I came into the hotel, I checked with the room clerk downstairs and asked about Mr. and Mrs. Allen. He told me they were in this room.
Allen, huh?
Mm-hmm. That's the name they gave me.
Mm-hmm.
I came up, knocked on the door, and Mr. Allen opened it. I don't suppose that's his real name, do you?
Well, we'll check on it, Doctor.
Be a little silly to give the real name and then do a thing like this.
Yeah.
What happened after the man let you into the room?
Well, I told him who I was, and he said that his wife was ill.
Where was she?
Lying in the bed, all covered up. I went over to her and asked her what was wrong.
What'd she say?
Nothing. She moaned a little. Then her husband, I guess that's who he was, told me that it was her side. Said that she'd had a pain all evening.
Yeah.
He asked me if I thought it might be appendix. I told him there are a lot of other things that cause pain in the side beside appendix.
Mm-hmm.
I went over to the bed to take the woman's temperature. That's when the man locked the door.
Sir?
I heard this noise. I turned around and saw the man turning the night latch on the door. I asked him why he was doing that, and he told me he didn't want us to be disturbed. At the time, I thought it was a little strange, no reason to lock the door, but he had a reason. He had one.
Yeah.
After that, I went over to the woman again and reached out for the thermometer. All of a sudden, she jumped up out of bed, jumped at me. I turned around to ask what this was all about. And I saw the man. He had a gun standing right behind me. And I saw him start to swing the gun, and then... that's the last I remember until I came to. I called the police. That's it.
You never saw these people before?
No. No, I remembered if I did.
Do you have any idea why they'd call you?
No. No, the man said something to the girl on the board at my call service. You can check with her. Oh, I wonder if I could have a cigarette.
Sure.
Thanks. Get out my coat, please.
Yes, sir.
Thanks. You're welcome. Oh, that's funny.
What's that, sir?
My lighter, it's gone. Solid gold. Present from my wife. I'd hate to lose that. The top opens up when you spin the flint thing, you know.
Yes, sir. How about your other personal effects?
What was that?
Your other effects, Doctor. Your wallet, your money.
Gone. Gone, everything. The thieves, they robbed me. That's what they did. I don't mind the money, only $30, $40, but the card's in my wallet. Rotten thieves. Look here.
What's that, sir?
My watch. They even took my watch. Automatic. It was a good one. My wife gave me that, too.
Can you give us a description of these articles?
Well, I certainly can. I've got the case and movement numbers at the watch in my office. I can give you that.
You'll want a complete description of the man and woman, too, Doctor.
Well, I gave one to the other officers.
Yes, sir, but we'd like to go over it with you.
Oh, all right. Say, wait a minute.
Yes, sir?
My bag, do you see it?
What's that, sir?
My doctor's bag. Must be in the room someplace, unless they took that, too.
Just sit still, Doctor. We'll look for it. Oh.
Joe, here it is.
I'd rather you wouldn't touch that, Doctor.
Oh, I want to see what's in it. Do you mind moving some of those things, please?
Sure.
Instruments are all there. That's what they took, all right. All of it.
What's that, Doctor?
Narcotics.
8:59 p.m. We got a complete description of the pair of suspects, and Frank and I called them into the office. R&I had no record of anyone by the name of Timothy Allen answering the description that we'd been given. 9:03 p.m. We talked to the desk clerk. He was unable to give us any information on the pair. He said that the couple had come in earlier that evening and had paid for the room in advance. He went on to say that they carried one piece of luggage. We looked at the registration card. It was signed with the name Mr. and Mrs. Timothy Allen and gave as an address St. Paul, Minnesota. The registration card was held as evidence to be checked by Don Meyer in handwriting. We called the crime lab, and a crew of men were sent out to go over the hotel room for possible physical evidence. 9:27 p.m. We went back to the office and got out a local broadcast and an APB on the pair of suspects. A radiogram was sent to the police department in St. Paul asking for information on the couple. Dr. Platt was asked to come to the office and go through the mug books. A call was put into Narcotics Division to see if the officers there had any information on the thieves. Officer Roxy Lucarelli said that he checked their files to see if he could come up with any leads for us. In the meantime, the stats office had started to run on the M.O. used in the crime.
You got anything?
Well, Roxy's going to check it. Says he's never heard of the man and woman. They're new to him.
Yeah. How about the numbers on the vials?
Yeah, there's a broadcast out on them. They'll be listed in tomorrow's bulletin. Dr. Copeland, anything?
No, he's still checking.
Well, if he doesn't find them, we can take him over to crime analysis. Maybe have a composite drawn up, huh?
Yeah.
Hot shot. I'll get it. I got it. Frank?
Yeah? What is it?
Hotel on West 7th.
Yeah?
Another doctor slugged and robbed. 4:15 p.m., we arrived at the scene of the latest beating. We talked to the victim, a Dr. Aubrey Baker. The story we got from him was substantially the same as the one Dr. Platt had given us. A call had been put out by a man who gave his name as Allen, saying that his wife needed immediate treatment. Upon the doctor's arrival, the door to the room had been locked, and the doctor had been beaten and robbed of his personal effects and supply of narcotics. The description the doctor was able to give us was the same as the one we'd gotten before. 10:47 p.m., we talked with the desk clerk at the hotel. The description he gave us of the Allen couple matched the one that we had. A check of the registration card showed that the handwriting was the same. We spent the rest of the night running down the leads we had. The stats office had come up with 4 possibles. They were checked out, but they netted us nothing. For the next 2 nights, Frank and I stayed in the field in the hopes of apprehending the pair of thieves. During that time, they hit 3 times. All of the victims were doctors. Each time, the entire supply of narcotics was taken. Monday, June 22nd, 10 p.m. Frank and I checked into the office. There was a message that Captain Didion wanted to see us.
Hi, Joe. Frank?
Skipper, heard from St. Paul yet?
Yeah, I got a radiogram about an hour ago. I got no record on the pair back there.
How about the operation?
New to them.
Mm-hmm.
How about this deal you set up? You want to go over it?
Yeah, the way we got it figured, this couple's new. Either they just got into town or else they just decided to get a piece of narcotic action in town.
Where'd you get that?
We talked to Roxy Lucarelli over at Narcotics.
Yeah?
He's talked to the other fellows in the office. None of them have heard of this kind of operation before. It's new to them, too.
How about informants? If the couple are selling the stuff, there's got to be some rumbles around about it.
Well, it doesn't seem to work out that way, Skipper. Roxy says they haven't heard anything about it. This Allen couple must be building up a supply before they start to unload it.
Yeah.
We had the artist over at Crime Analysis draw up a composite picture of the couple. It's been sent out to all the doctors in the area.
When did it go out?
Mailed over the weekend. Should happen this morning.
Who'd you send it to?
All the general practitioners, internists, physicians, and surgeons in the area. Got a list of names from the AMA. They're going to give us all the help they can. We sent out about 1,500 to the osteopaths in the area. They're going to cooperate.
The way Smith tells it, whenever one of these doctors gets a call to a hotel and it's not a regular patient, they're going to call you. Is that it?
Yeah, that's right. And then we can get in touch with the clerk at the hotel and get a description of the people making the call. The doctor waits for us at the desk, and if the couple looks like possibles, well, we go with them.
Looks like the long way around.
Yeah, it's about the only way we got, though.
How many men are you going to need to help cover it?
One other team should do it.
You're only going to roll on the calls where the description matches?
Yeah.
Okay. Rafferty and Murphy will work with you on it. Be a team out of the business office if you need any more help.
Okay, Skipper.
What are you getting from narcotics?
Well, they got 4 men on it, running down leads on the dope. They got the serial numbers on the vials. The way Captain Shy tells it, they try to push a single cap of the stuff and they'll nail them.
Well, looks good. Hope it works out.
Yeah, so do we, Skipper.
Robbery, Didion. Yeah, just a minute. For you, Friday.
Thank you. Friday talking. Yes, sir. Yes, that's right. Who's speaking, please? Dr. Adams? Yes, sir. I see. What's that address again? Yes, I have it. Do you have a phone number? Fine. 416? Yes, sir. All right, we have it. Yes, we know where that is. Right. That's correct. Right. Thank you. Bye. Looks like it started.
What do you got?
It's a Dr. Adams. We'll know in a minute here if it means anything. Hello, this is Sergeant Friday, Los Angeles Police Department. Yes, that's right. Do you have a name on the couple in 416? Mm-hmm. Could you describe them for me, please? No, there's nothing wrong. No, just give us a description, would you, please? Mm-hmm. And the woman? I see. Okay. Right. All right, thank you very much, sir. No, that's all right. Right. Bye.
How about it?
Name's Alden. Description matches. .46 p.m. After checking with the desk clerk at the hotel and talking with the doctor who had made the call, Frank and I went up to the room. The doctor went into the bedroom to see the woman patient. Frank and I talked to her husband, Kenneth Alden.
Sure is nice of you fellas to be here, but I don't think there's any reason for it.
It's all right.
I should have listened to Helen. She said we shouldn't have come.
Where you from, Alden? Alden?
Huh?
I say, where you from?
Carthage.
Missouri?
Sure hope everything's all right. Yeah, Missouri. Either one of you know this Dr. Edmondson?
No.
Sure hope he knows what he's doing. Helen's kind of little, you know. Frail. Sure hope he knows what he's doing.
How long you and your wife been here?
A week tomorrow. I should have listened to Helen. She didn't think it was a good idea to come out here. I talked her into it. Said we should have a vacation. She was right. I don't know what I'll do if it's not all right.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, you can say that. It's not your wife.
I've been through the same thing.
Yeah?
Yeah, twice. Let me tell you, not a thing to worry about.
Maybe not in a hospital, but here, a hotel room. I don't know.
Believe me, son, it's going to be all right.
I wish he'd let us know what's happening. Twice, huh?
Yeah, boy and a girl.
Helen wants a girl. Don't make much difference to me either way. Did it make a difference to you?
Not really. I was kind of glad the first one was a girl.
Yeah, it'd be nice. But just as long as it's healthy, that's all that really counts. Awful quiet in there. It seems like we should hear something pretty soon.
Take it easy.
Yeah, I always thought they had to boil a lot of water. It seems like they always use a lot of hot water.
I think that's to keep the husband busy, don't you? Give him something to do.
Yeah. How old are yours?
Girl's 8, boy's 6.
Oh, I read where that's ideal. 2 years difference. It kind of helps the younger child problem. Helen and I want 4.
It's a nice family.
Yeah. You see, she's from a family of 6. I'm an only child, so we both feel that a big family's right.
Yeah.
Sure is quiet in there.
You like me to go down and get some coffee?
No, not for me. I don't want anything. We gonna be able to take Helen to the hospital?
That's up to the doctor, Alden.
Yeah, I guess so. Guess it's up to him to say or not.
Sounds like you're a father.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Same to you. Guess my troubles are over now.
They're just starting.
During the next few days, we got a dozen more calls. All of them proved false. However, during that time, the robberies continued. Despite our warnings, doctors continued to answer calls at hotels for people they didn't know. The amount of stolen narcotics grew larger. The outlet for the drugs still hadn't been found. On Friday, June 26th, we got a call from a Dr. Halbert. He told us that he'd gotten a call from a couple who gave their name as Allen. He asked us to meet him at the hotel. Well, how long ago did they call you, Doctor?
About 25 minutes ago. Asked me to come right over.
That's when they gave you their names, did they?
That's right.
Ever treat them before?
No, new to me. Think they're the people you're looking for?
Well, we don't know. The description we got from the desk clerk matches the suspect.
I'd rather you'd wait out here.
It'd be better if we went in with you, Doctor.
That may be your opinion. You're forgetting I'm a doctor. I want to help you catch the people you're after, but my first duty is to the patient. I'm not going to embarrass them by having police officers ask questions.
We're here to take care of you, sir.
Then do it from the hall. According to your bulletin, the man always locks the door, doesn't he?
He has in the past.
And that's how you can tell. If he locks the door, then come on in.
All right, if that's the way you want it, Doctor.
That's the way it's got to be.
All right, sir. We'll be right out here if you need us.
I hope I won't.
So do we.
I'm Dr. Halbert.
What do you think, Sean?
I don't know. All we can do is sweat it out.
Why'd you do it? Why'd you shoot him?
Dead.
You killed him.
We didn't call it, lady.
How can you say that? You shot him in cold blood. He's just a kid. You didn't have to kill him.
Better call in.
Yeah.
He was doing it for me. He was helping me, and you killed him. He didn't know. He was just a kid. He didn't know what was going on. I told him what to do. I set it up. You come in here and kill him. I hope you're real proud of yourself, cop.
who's here. Hi.
Got tired of waiting at home. Decided to put in the time here.
Glad you did.
He looks tired, doesn't he?
He always looks that way to me. You're getting prettier every day, Ann.
Thanks, so are you. How's Faye?
Fine. I don't know how you do it, Joe. What's she seeing you? Get these reports out and we can go home.
Long day?
Yeah,
You do look tired.
a little bit. Thanks.
When you get through with your reports, I'll buy you both a cup of coffee.
That's the best offer I've had all day. I'll take care of the shooting. You want to get the dead body report?
What was that address?
9276 South Bixel.
267.
No, Joe. 9276 South Bixel.
Yeah. Can't remember the DR number.
1275460. I asked you this morning. You gave it to me. What's the matter?
I don't know. Guess I'm just tired.
Here, buddy. I'll finish that up.
I'm sorry I came down here, Joe. I didn't think you'd mind.
No, that's all right.
I'll drop these off at Homicide on the way. Hey, it's quitting time. You going home? I'll see you tomorrow. I'll take a rain check on that coffee, Ann. Night.
Good night, Frank.
How many are you going to smoke at once, Joe?
I guess I am a little tired.
How old was he, Joe?
What?
The person he killed. How old was he?
Why do you ask that?
I'm not a policeman, Joe. But I heard Creasy and Stewart talking about the robbery call. What Frank said about the dead body report and the shooting. How old was he?
22. First time I ever killed a man.
Mm-hmm.
Not a good thing, Ann. You kind of wonder if maybe there wasn't some other way.
Was there?
No. He called it.
Joe.
Yeah?
There isn't much I can say. Nothing to make you feel better or make you forget about it. But, Joe, you're in a special kind of job.
I've been telling myself that, but it doesn't seem to help much.
Did he have a gun?
Yeah.
Did he use it?
Yeah.
Well, doesn't that make a difference? Doesn't it matter that the only reason they're not filling out a report on you or Frank is that you were better at your job than that boy was at his? Remember the time you and I sat in the hospital waiting for Frank to come out of it? Remember?
Yeah.
Frank and I could be waiting for you tonight.
Yeah.
What's your rating on the pistol range?
What?
You get $6 a month extra for marksmanship, don't you?
Yeah.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
Is it?
Joe, you could have missed if that was the way it was supposed to be. I've read where even a $12 shooter misses sometimes.
I suppose so.
Joe, I don't know who made the decision, but I'm glad it's the way it is. Now, come on. I'll buy you that cup of coffee.
All right.
the dark. Can you find your way?
Yeah. Can you?
On October 21st, trial was held in Department 98, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial. The suspect was tried and convicted of robbery in the first degree, which is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a term of not less than 5 years. A coroner's jury found that Edgar Cabell was killed while resisting arrest, and his death was listed as justifiable homicide.